So joining us on this property inspection is my friend Noah, who specializes in wholesales and flips, partnered with Ryan Dossie. And Noah, how many deals you guys doing now?
We probably do 25 to 30 flips a year.
Hell yeah.
That's where we're at. Yeah.
Dude, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's good
and
stuff.
you guys at once had 70 plus rental properties yourself, and then you sold the whole portfolio, right?
Yeah, we actually had 170.
Oh, I didn't realize you got 170.
And then it was right around post-COVID, 2021, 22, we sold off the whole portfolio, got rid of that, kind of closed that chapter of the business, and then focused on the whole flip side. We really don't even wholesale anymore. It's mostly buy and flip. We do a lot of wholesale stuff as well, but mostly the flip and wholesale side now.
So Ryan was famous for saying you got to keep the rest and wholesale the rest. No, keep the best and wholesale the rest.
Right.
So now you flip everything.
Yeah.
What was the change there, do you think?
The big change there for us was we were able to really dial in all of our systems and processes so we can really optimize every deal that we get. Now we get better pricing. We get nationwide pricings from Sherwin-Williams. We get flooring from Sherwin-Williams. We have accounts with Wayfair, stuff like that. So like I can get a gallon of paint that normally costs, say you're an average consumer, you go into Sherwin-Williams, costs $72. We get it for $17.
Oh, wow.
So being able to save that kind of money. So we calculated it up, and most of our projects we do, you're spending $1,200 to $1,400 on paint alone. And so after all of our discounts and stuff, if we average 25 to 30 flips a year, that's saving like $36,000 on paint.
So you feel like you can really extract the most value from doing the flips yourself now that you've ironed all that out.
Correct.
And wholesaling is often a stepping stone to other things in real estate.
Absolutely.
It seems like it was that way for you guys.
100%. Because back in the day, 2016, 2017, we wholesaled 70 to 80 a year.
Wow.
But that was back when we didn't have private money connections, hard money connections, any of that. So we couldn't buy and keep anything because we were, 24, something like that. So we didn't have money to do that. But now that we have those connections, it's like, if we can optimize everything and make the most money out of it, it makes sense to hold it and flip it and be done with it.
Cool. All right, so we're going to do two things at once.
Okay. Okay.
I noticed in the bathroom there's some lights out. So we got to put we don't have any light bulbs with us today because I left them at another house yesterday.
Nice.
So basically, I have 19 properties now.
Okay.
I added 7 this year, and I noticed after 5 years of not really looking at any of the properties, like 9 of them appreciated $1 million. So I thought that was pretty great.
That's awesome.
But then I realized some tenants don't want to bother us because they feel like they're bothering us.
Mm-hmm.
But then these maintenance things can cause bigger problems that they're not telling us about, such as a gutter broke in the back of one of the properties, and it was like rotting out the back of the door because the water was now coming down the side of the house. And then she didn't let us know for like 3 years. Nice. Yeah, she didn't want to bother us. We saw one yesterday where the stairs were actually falling apart. I was like, why didn't you tell us about this? He didn't really have an answer. But so just trying to stay ahead of stuff. I've never taken a day or two to just go through all of them.
Right.
And some of them I haven't seen in a long time. So
that's fair.
All in all, it's been pretty great. There was a mailbox that we fixed a month ago, and it was broken in half again. He said that Uber drivers keep hitting it.
Oh, no. So here's a question for you, because this is good general knowledge for people holding rentals and stuff like that. How did you guys come up with your particular checklist for your inspections?
This came straight from Ryan Haywood, who's got, I think, 30 or 40. He's the podcast co-host of mine. So this is the checklist, right? Or China. Which is the correct house that we're looking at. I know that's not this address. Okay. I'll let you find it. But basically, I've got it kind of to memory now, is we look under all the sinks to make sure there's no like rotting stuff. This actually does look like at one time it had some type of water. It's like warped a little bit there. So I'll maybe run this, just make sure it's not currently leaking. Did you guys ever have a checklist? I mean, you guys probably added them so quickly.
Yeah, we had a pretty extensive checklist, and we would do stuff. We would do all of our maintenance stuff quarterly.
So quarterly?
Our maintenance guys would come out, take a look, check everything out, replace the furnace filters, all that stuff. And that way we could get eyes on everything every quarter.
Yeah, some tenants are really good about changing the filters, and others are not. We found out. So we actually loaded up on filters. Does this one need to be changed?
I'll check it. I think Jerry just changed it.
Okay.
That looks good.
It doesn't look like it's leaking now, but at one time it does. Jonathan, you want to get that so people can see that? I like that light though.
Dude, I will say,
can you shine that in there?
I will say that having a flashlight on your person in real estate has been a big game changer for me.
I bet.
What kind of bug is that?
A bug?
Right there.
What kind of bug is that?
That is a cockroach.
Ooh.
It's like a baby cockroach.
There's another one right here. He's been looking
Oh my God.
No.
All right, so just exterminate the property professionally.
Zoom in on that guy right there.
Oh man.
He's looking.
Noah knew exactly what that was. So. All right, here's the furnace. It's nice and toasty in here. Looks like there's a new filter here. Where do you think the filter goes in this one? Is that it? Maybe it's in the wall. Maybe there's one of those external vent things. Oh yeah, it's in the wall. It's actually in there. There's a spare in there.
Really?
Yeah, but it looks clean. They just changed it.
Yeah, Jerry just changed
You want to write down the size? So this one, let me know if you guys ever had this scam happen. So I've held rentals for 8 years. Never had this happen, but they'll apply with someone else's credit.
Okay.
And then somebody else will move into the house who's not the person on my lease. And then it's usually like an unqualified person. So then eventually they can't pay after 5 or 6 or 7 months, whenever. They take decent care of the property, except for this one, they smoked in it. You can kind of smell that. But so then you have to evict them and the person who's not on your lease also at the same time, so they get out of your property.
So is technically the person who's not on the lease who's living here, they're technically a squatter though, right?
Yeah,
So
but actually DealMachine's data got so good, it says who's getting mail here. So I knew the squatter's name without doing any research. I was like, I can tell it's this person.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
That's awesome.
I was really excited to see that, because then you could put that on the eviction as well, and that way you get it all done in one fell swoop. Right.
You're not hunting who the actual person
the only evictions we've done is 3 people this year who ran that scam. So in order to prevent this from happening, we meet them in person and require they show us the physical ID when they're lease signing. So we don't do DocuSign leases anymore.
Got it.
Yeah, that's pretty much solved it, I think, to verify that they're the right person. They tried to print like a temporary driver's license one time, and we were like, no, we need like a hard ID. Yeah.
Listen to this. When I went to see the property after they had moved out, they were practicing a signature. It was like clearly on an envelope. They had practiced.
You saw it in the trash can.
It wasn't theirs.
Right?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
The only scam we had run, people would take all of our photos of a leasing listing and then take it, make it their own. People would pay them the deposit.
Yes.
And then I'm like, no, this isn't right.
We've had that happen a couple times, but thankfully it doesn't hurt us.
Right.
I don't want it to hurt other people either, but when they're running it on like Craigslist, the most you could do is just report the ad and tell general people, don't find your rental property on Craigslist.
Or Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, for Facebook Marketplace.
The thing we did to try to combat that, the biggest way that worked, I guess, would be we started watermarking all of our photos. In the middle of all of our leasing photos, we just put a big watermark.
With your phone number.
Yeah.
Nice.
Watermark with our company logo, phone number, so that way even if they saved all the photos,
that's a good tip.
That's already on there.
That's a really good tip.
That worked and helped stop a lot of that for us.
The other thing we check is the bathroom. Make sure like there's no mold in the paint on the ceiling. Sometimes happens if like there's not a ventilation fan. And so this one looks fine. Vent fan works. It just would love to rent it to somebody with 3 matching light bulbs. So we have one out, one yellow, and one white. You got to check this out, Jonathan. The bottom of this sink looks okay. But yeah, so we want to do that. The mini blinds look good.
That was one thing we actually stopped putting in all of our units. We got tired of everybody messing with the mini blinds and breaking them.
Okay.
So we put that responsibility on the tenant.
To put up their own blinds.
Yep.
So we just went to a house Gary built.
Okay.
Remember our good friend Gary?
Gary.
Dude, he does such awesome work. Several of the smoke alarms, they didn't work. They just weren't plugged in. So we plugged them in, but then they started beeping because then they didn't have a battery in it. So I had rented the gas station and put in a bunch of batteries too. But it was great. I was like, they weren't even working. So you want to have those
nice and safe. Here's a question for you as a landlord. Do you guys have a certain finished product that you do for everything? Do you have an easy template of like, okay, we just picked up a new rental. I know I'm going to put in this floor, this paint, this trim, this kitchen.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that templated all out, or do you just kind of pick per rental?
China, do we have a template?
Yeah, we sure do. And it does change every once in a while because we were working with Zeta. We
Okay.
were putting gray floors everywhere, and she's like, "That's out of style now."
Yeah, it's the warm earth tones now.
Exactly,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
So we do update it from time to time.
Okay.
We used to do like Samsung front load washer dryer, and now we're using hot point stuff like that.
You're doing the fancy stuff.
Yeah, these hot points are actually the scammer, when they got evicted, they stole the washer dryer.
That sounds right.
And so these are like $400, and the Samsungs don't even last super long in our case. So we figured might as well put in a new hot point that's lower value, but it's still nice enough.
It still works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And front loaders too, if you don't clean them, they get that like scuzz ring, they mold out, they get real nasty.
Is this animal? I'm seeing like yellow stuff along the wall. Is that animal urine, or is that like somebody sprayed for bugs? Do you see this stuff?
I do see it.
Do we have any wipes or towels or anything?
I don't know what that is. Normally animals don't spray on the floor though. Normally they get to like baseboard height.
It's almost like somebody did like a perimeter spray for bugs, but it doesn't usually leave that yellow staining, and it's not in here that I see. Yeah, I think we should add some air fresheners. You need more lights in that both bathrooms.
When did he repaint it?
We'll do the spraying for, apparently he just redid it.
It was like 2 weeks ago. It doesn't really smell like paint.
It doesn't.
I was gonna say it doesn't smell like
It would smell like paint if
you
it
would
was
still smell it
repainted
with
2
no
weeks
one
ago.
living here.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe his guy told him he painted it and it didn't get done.
Primed it with that like.
You'd still smell it. That stuff especially was. We had
That
this
stuff's
like
even worse.
really, really strong product for smoke smell.
Is it like the Zinzer kills or?
It is like more than kills. It's
That's
like 3 times more than
okay.
kills, but it's like that should smell like something.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
right.
you'd smell
It doesn't smell like it got painted in here at all, actually.
Do you guys always go with the?
No, I bought
Formica
it this
tops?
way. I bought it that way. We do like a lower cost solid surface though, typically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we called it hardening all of our units. So we put LVP in everything, and then we put granite in all the kitchens, just because it takes like if you get a tenant with a hot pan and they put it on the Formica top, you're gonna burn a hole
ruin
in
it.
it. But with granite, if you crack a granite slab, you were trying to do that,
Right.
so it's easy to pin that back on people.
We need a 9-volt for that too. Yeah, and I see spare paint, but I don't see that spare product that he used. So
I can hook you guys up with my Sherwin-Williams rep too.
Oh, dude,
so you
thank
can
you.
work on that stuff. And yeah, they do flooring as well, which a lot of people don't know they do. But if you do enough volume with them, you can get their flooring discounts. And I get so like normal is like $260, or for like consumer grade normal is like $260 for the product, and then another couple dollars an install. I get it for $1.64 for the product, and then 80 cents a square foot. For
Dude, that's
install.
unbelievable.
It's
Thank you so
insane.
much. We'll take it.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
It helps a lot, and that's just goes back to optimizing everything you can do.
Oh yeah, that's a huge optimization. So normally I'll buy a property that is really run down. It needs everything redone, and then it looks like our template. This property, it was on the market for a long time, and I used like the Zoom Offers Now software to systematically send DocuSign offers at 70% of list price.
Got it.
And so that's how we got this one, and that's why this one doesn't look like our template, because they accepted it, and it was pretty much ready to go.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, China, what else do we have on our list? It looks like it does need some stuff.
Do you guys get in crawl spaces and stuff and look at that ever?
No. Do you?
Yes.
What do you find?
That's where you see if you have foundation issues, if you're getting water, if you have mold, insects. Because a lot of those problems, say you're not in your crawl for a few years, if you have a mold issue, you could have an entire crawl space full of mold after a year or two. And that's when it starts to get bad.
Hey, we don't do that. Maybe next time we'll go do that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good project for Jerry.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say I'm not going to that house.
Anything else we need to look at in this one, China? It does need lights. I put that I just wrote that on the list.
And the crawl space thing too, just because you can feel the movement in the floor as you're
In
walking.
this house.
Yeah, in this particular house. So you're like, is it just settled and it's fine, or is there actually something going on in it?
So
That can become a bigger issue eventually.
there was a guy from Indiana Foundation You remember that guy? His name was Keith. And he always had like the best Southern accent and analogies. And he was basically like 99 problems out of 100 come from your water drainage.
Yeah.
Not coming away from the house. So we always make sure if that has gutter extenders, and if not, like to get them on there and to tell the tenants to leave them on there. So we'll check that in this one.
That's a big inspection fix. It's super easy to do. Just like, even if it's like 3-4 feet from the foundation going out.
He'd say the earth around your house is like your mom's loaf of bread, which in the oven is...
Never heard this one.
I know, right? In the oven, like it's like kind of wet yeast in the oven, it expands, right?
Okay.
And then when the earth around your house dries out, then it kind of retracts. So then that's when your foundation loses support and moves around. And then when it gets wet again, the earth kind of expands again, and then it pushes against the foundation, and then it dries out and it releases again. That's if you have too much water coming around your house. And so that just movement is why the house like becomes unstable, or the foundation starts bowing, because it loses that support, gets it back in new places, then it loses it again and it moves. So he kind of retired though. He was an older guy, but he'd come out and look at all kinds of properties if you were looking at them. I know it's cold out here, but let's just take a quick
peek around.
So here, that should be extended.
Right. That should go the other way.
That's actually going into the house. What the heck?
This is a nice backyard.
Yeah, so this one's fairly close to the house, but it does not have an extender. Basically, you can see that the ground slants toward the house.
Oh, yeah.
And then the water is probably coming in the foundation that way. So the ground slants toward the house, and then the gutter is not extended. So that water comes off the roof and probably goes under the house right there. Yeah, crawl space bent there, but I'm not sure where the actual crawl space entrance is. Would there ever be a crawl space that didn't have an entrance?
I'm actually doing a house right now, and there's no crawl space entrance.
Got it. So mainly just keep the water away from there and hope for the best.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Cool. How should we conclude this? What's your advice for somebody listening who wants to get into real estate investing?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say the biggest piece of advice that I've got for people wanting to get into it is making sure your numbers are dialed in, because if you make a bad buy from the beginning, you're always going to struggle with that property, whether it's a rental, whether it's a wholesale, whether it's a flip. If you make a bad buy from the start, there's no recovering from that ever. It's my biggest piece of advice that I've learned the hard way several times.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Let's get in those warm cars and have some lunch.
Yeah,
see you guys.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.